Let's jump right in. We are going to transform what might seem like a standard, maybe even slightly dry spelling bee study session into a completely fascinating cosmic adventure. I want to introduce you to our guide for this journey, our brilliant 10-year-old protagonist, Samantha Smartypants. You see, Samantha isn't just staring at flashcards and memorizing lists of words. No way. She's treating language like this giant, beautiful puzzle that's just waiting to be solved. And in this explainer, we get to join her. We'll be looking at the basic building blocks of language and learning exactly how to decode complex vocabulary just like the pros do. If you're into cracking the hidden codes inside our everyday language, you are in the perfect place. Let's get to it. So you might be wondering, how exactly do spelling bee champions decode these massive, intimidating words they have literally never encountered before? It's kind of the ultimate insider secret. The truth is, elite spellers don't just rely on brute force memorization. Actually, scratch that. They almost never rely purely on memorization. Instead, they're highly observant. They look for patterns. They use what we call root words. Think of roots as the DNA of language. Once you identify that core DNA, you unlock an entire family of words. You can predict their spelling and their meaning without breaking a sweat. It's a total game changer for how you read and learn. For our adventure today, we're zeroing in on one incredibly powerful mentor concept, the Greek root COSM, C-O-S-M. This translates directly to world or universe, and this is your primary clue. Whenever you're reading or competing and you spot COSM embedded in a word, you instantly know the context. The word is almost always going to feel large, wide, and universal. It's dealing with systems, space, or a big global perspective. Whether it's a common word you use every day, like cosmic, or some highly technical scientific term, that four-letter root remains your anchor. It always points you right back to the world or the ordered universe itself. Now, to make sure this sticks permanently, we need a really good visual anchor. Here's a memory trick for you. Picture COSM as a globe full of stars or a giant world circle. Imagine drawing this massive, colorful circle in your notebook, and inside that circle is literally everything, the whole universe, swirling galaxies, and our own planet Earth right in the middle. By associating the letter COSM with this glowing star-filled globe, your brain is going to instantly pull up the concept of world or universe the very next time you see it. So remember this golden rule. If it sounds global or space-related, think COSM. Okay, here's where it gets really fun. Let's treat these word parts like color-coded puzzle pieces. Let's look at the morphology, the actual structure of the words. Take our root, COSM, and add the suffix ology. Literally, that translates to the study of the world. Today, its modern meaning is the science of the universe, cosmology. Or look at another combination. We take COSM and add naut. Now, naut comes from the Greek word for sailor. So literally, a cosmonaut is a world sailor. In modern English, of course, it means a space traveler or astronaut. By just snapping these two puzzle pieces together, a potentially complex word becomes completely transparent. And this brilliantly illustrates how prefixes can completely shift the scale of our root while maintaining its core meaning. Take the prefix micro, meaning small, add it to our root, and we get microcosm, literally a small world, which we use today to describe a tiny system or a miniature version of something larger. Now swap that out for the prefix macro, meaning large, macrocosm, a large world representing the larger system or the universe itself. The root cosm stays exactly the same right in the middle. We are just using our prefix puzzle pieces to zoom all the way in or zoom all the way out. It's incredibly logical, right? Let's continue building with our puzzle pieces because there are so many cool applications. Think about combining cosm plus polit plus the suffix -an. Polit relates to a citizen or a city. Put them all together and literally we have a citizen of the world. In modern terms, if a city or a person is cosmopolitan, it means they're worldly, global, cultured, made up of people from many places. Now let's take cosm and add genesis. Genesis means creation or birth. Snap them together and literally you have world creation. Its modern meaning is exactly at the origin or birth of the universe. The logic just perfectly holds up every time. Of course, knowing the definitions in isolation is one thing, but seeing them out in the wild is where true mastery happens. Imagine our protagonist Samantha using her magnifying glass to spot these words in action. Whether you're reading The Astronomer Studied the Cosmos or The New City Neighborhood Was Very Cosmopolitan, the puzzle pieces make perfect sense. Sentences like, the astronaut smiled like a brave cosmonaut, or the classroom was a microcosm of the whole school, prove that we use these patterns constantly. When you read that last sentence, you instantly know the classroom is acting as a tiny world reflecting the larger school environment. It grounds these huge cosmic concepts into everyday language. Let's level up and see how this builds when we challenge ourselves with some heavier, more advanced vocabulary. Take these 3 terms. Remember our rule, the root doesn't change. First, cosmography. COSM plus graphy, which means writing or drawing. Literally world drawing or mapping the universe. Next, cosmocracy, adding crossy for rule or government. It literally means rule of the world or global rule. Finally, COSM, adding ism for a doctrine or belief. This translates to a belief system connected to the cosmos. Even with these intimidating suffixes, your anchor remains rock solid. If you see COSM, you are dealing with the world or the universe. Period. So what does the actual training montage for elite spellers look like? How do they apply this? Here is their exact 4-step strategy. Step 1. Search for the root first. Ignore all the noise of a long word and hunt for that core. Step 2. Identify your prefixes and suffixes. Those are your modifiers. Step 3. Put them together and ask what the word means literally exactly like we've been doing. And step 4. Compare it with related words in that same spelling family to predict the spelling. By using language history this way, you don't need to know the whole word right off the bat. You can just decode it on the fly. And when you're actually in the heat of a spelling bee competition, or honestly, even just taking a really tough vocabulary test, you need specific tactical maneuvers. First, you listen closely for Greek clues in the pronunciation. You mentally break the word into parts. A great trick is to say the root out loud in your head to isolate its sound. Recall similar words to double-check yourself. And crucially, check common vowel patterns. Notice how often COSM is followed by an O, creating Cosmo, before it attaches to endings like ology or graphy. Paying attention to that little connecting vowel pattern, that is an absolute secret weapon for getting the spelling right under pressure. Sometimes the puzzle pieces are incredibly subtle, and that is where being a true word detective really pays off. Let's do a quick comparison. Take the word cosmogony with a gony suffix, literally world birth, meaning the creation of the universe. Now contrast that with cosmogeny with a geny suffix, literally the origin of the world, meaning the formation of the universe. The meanings are almost identical, and the suffixes are separated by just a single vowel difference. But because you know the root cause, you aren't completely thrown off by these hyper-specific scientific nuances. You know exactly what linguistic neighborhood you're standing in. All right, grab your magnifying glass. It's time to put your skills to the test with a word detective challenge. Using everything we've just learned, look at these 2 mysterious words, cosmotype and cosmotropic. Even if you've never, ever seen them in a dictionary, how would you break them down? Well, for cosmotype, you have cosm, meaning world, and type, meaning model or form. So it literally means a world model or a representative world pattern. For cosmotropic, tropic often means turning towards or oriented towards, so turning toward the world or universe. Boom. You just successfully predicted the meaning of 2 highly obscure words based entirely on a 4-letter root. We are going to wrap up our explainer with one single, incredibly powerful golden rule. If you take away just one thing from this visual journey, let it be this quote. The spelling bee student remembered, cos equals world. By shifting your perspective from memorizing endless lists to simply recognizing patterns, you give yourself a real superpower. You're no longer just reading words. You are decoding the history of human language. So the next time you open a book or hear a complex scientific term, I want you to ask yourself, what other linguistic galaxies are hiding right there in plain sight, just waiting for you to discover their roots? Keep decoding, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.